My name's Chantel. I'm one of the nurses at the Donor Tissue Bank of Victoria, and my role here, as to sum it all up, is to speak with families about tissue donation.
I'm Kelly Hamilton and I'm the Senior Scientist at the Donor Tissue Bank of Victoria. I've worked here for coming up 25 years, I think. It'll be the end of this year. And I've always loved what I do here. I've moved it from a junior scientist way back in the early days to senior scientist and in charge of R&D now.
The community has heard a lot more about organ donation as opposed to tissue donation. Organ donation and tissue donation have some similarities. However, organ donation is quite a rare opportunity in that someone must pass away in a hospital environment for it to be possible, whereas tissue donation, a person can pass away in a community or in a hospital as well, and there are some much more relaxed timeframes for tissue donation to occur in comparison to organ donation.
Tissue donation is different in that tissue donation can occur within 24 hours of a person's death, so brain and circulatory death. And so this is I suppose, deceased as people are think about it. Somebody might die in a motor vehicle accident, an unexpected death where they're found passed away in the morning. And these are the people that can become tissue donors. And the tissue is stored in freezers until sometime down the track where it is transplanted after it's been deemed safe.
One of the biggest challenges is just the enormity of what we ask of families. So I'm a complete stranger ringing up a family who've never heard of me before. A lot of people haven't actually heard of tissue donation before either. And I'm asking if that's something that they would like to do within hours of them finding out that someone they love has died.
The tissue banking environment has changed a lot since when I first started here all of those years ago. It's a lot more highly regulated than it was back then. So we're regulated by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, and the environment is always changing to make tissue and transplantation safer. So we've got an obligation to meet those requirements, and sometimes some of those can be quite challenging to meet. So part of my role is finding ways that we can actually meet those obligations. The Tree of Life was something that we'd wanted to do for a very long time. We'd thought about some sort of an artwork or installation that would be used to honour donors and their families.
The Tree of Life is almost the centre of the Donor Tissue Bank. So the Tree of Life was funded by a family whose son had donated tissue.
They collected money in lieu of flowers at his funeral for the Donor Tissue Bank of Victoria, and then presented us with this money, and we said, well, hey, we've got an idea with this. How would you feel if this went towards creating this Tree of Life? And they were rapt because they said, actually, he was an artist, so that they said it was absolutely perfect for that. And
it's a mural of a tree, and at the end of each month a leaf is placed on the tree with the name of all of our donors of that month. The leaves are all different colours, symbolising the variety of grief responses that our families experience and the change of the seasons. And at the end of the year we invite all the families who've donated throughout that year to come along to our annual leaf day, during which they're given that leaf from the tree. I've had contact with so many families over the years I've been here, and each story is really special. So trying to think of just one to share with you is hard.
There's been a lot of recipients, I suppose well-known sports people who have been recipients of tissue. I can only talk about, obviously, ones that are known in the media. But I think Elisa Camplin, the aerial skier, she received a graft from us and then went on to win a bronze medal at the next Olympics. And that one was always one that I loved. It was a nice feel-good story because Australia was shattered when she shattered her knee, and we thought that was the end of her dreams for another medal and another go at it.
I received a letter not too long ago, and this one sticks with me because it was just very cute. It was a 10-year-old boy who'd had a history of cerebral palsy and had a foot deformity as a result of it, and had a foot surgery which required a bit of bone grafting, and so the bone was donated by one of our donors, and he was able to have this surgery, which has meant that he's able to walk properly and use less aids to be able to do so. And his letter was just adorable. It was very cute, and you could see his mum had edited it a little bit here and there, but to give that to a family who've lost someone they love, to see how that connection has been made and to see how that child can now walk again because of the person that they loved donating is amazing. The gift was created a few years ago now by Bruce Esplin, who used our logo, so the giving and receiving hands, to create a sculpture for us.
He wanted to create something that symbolised the donation process and also the recipient process. So it's a fascinating sculpture, and when you understand the elements of that sculpture and where that's come from, it's absolutely fantastic. So it represents the donation, it represents the recipients.
You'll see when you look at the sculpture, essentially has like a sort of spiral leading up to the hand itself, sort of representing the difficulties the families face in trying to come to a decision as to whether they would like to donate. And then you have the receiving hand on the other side, and that receiving hand you'll see is sort of covered by a bit of a blanket. It's resting on a pillow, symbolising this, the recipient is coming from a dark time and that they're using the support of their family and their loved ones to get through that time until they receive the gift of donation. The other thing you'll find with the sculpture is it's also got quite a lot of bars down the bottom, connecting one pillar to the other, or some don't quite connect. And that's the symbolism of the discussions that are had with families around donations. Some of the discussions are straightforward and many are not. Many are quite complicated. Some stop and start, others don't quite get that far. Every discussion and every conversation is very different.
My family have always been incredibly supportive, even in the days where, I used to come in, be on call, and I'd come in the middle of the night for things. They're always supportive because they understand what I do is important and the positive impact it has on the community.
Everyone gets a little bit interested in what I do, but also very, weirded out, I suppose, in a way. They
know how passionate I am about it, and they're proud. They're very, very proud. And I remember when we did another video, I think it might have been actually when we did the virtual tour, and we put that online, and I posted it on Facebook and said, this is what I do. And I had so many people that I went to high school with that I hadn't spoken to in years. Lots and lots of people were sharing that, and it was really good. So I was rapt about that. The
most amazing thing about my job is the fact that despite these families having lost someone they love, they're still willing to give and still showing that generosity of the human spirit. You don't see that anywhere. You have a bad day, or, going home from work and someone pushes you out of the way to get on the tram in front of you, or that sort of thing, and it makes you think of, God, this place, But then you see the generosity of someone who's just lost someone, still wanting to give and help the community. That's the best part of my job, seeing that.
Number one, it's the positive impact that we have on the community, and that's recipients and donor families and donors, I suppose, themselves in the case of the living donors. Fulfilling people's wishes with donation, but also every day is a challenge. So every day is a new challenge, and that's what keeps me coming back to work. So yeah, and I've got great colleagues who are all in the same boat. They're fantastic colleagues around here.
I'm training 3 girls and they're upstairs going, yes, the cat's away. Yeah.
Might just get you to move the microphone back because it's rubbing, sorry.
Yep, that's all right.
And one of the challenges is, I'm going to start again because I have absolutely no idea what I was going to say there.
Does that sound? Is that better?
Should be fine. Maybe just move a bit. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
No, just walk to your desk as you normally would any other day. So.
I have to just pick it up with my fingers there because I can't. And Anthony got that on camera.